a new, better way P&L model. So are you struggling to read your P&L? Now, what does that mean? Well, your P&L is your profit and loss statement, and it's key to your business because it tells you about the results of the operations of your business. So how much money are you making, basically. Now, one of the things about the P&L is that, you know, for a non-accountant, it's a fairly difficult document to read. If you're not used to reading it, it could seem overwhelming and it could seem very intimidating. So what's up, everybody? My name is Chris Hervochon with SOAR, A Better Way CPA. SOAR stands for Strategic Operational Accounting Resources. And let's connect. So Chris at betterwaycpa.com. That's the email, 843-608-0298. That is the phone number. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Quora. I post new content every single day on Quora, stuff that you can't find anywhere else. You're not going to find it on the blog. You're not going to find it in other articles. Only on Quora. So please follow me there. Follow me on the other social media channels as well. So, have any questions while I'm going ahead and presenting this? By all means, please reach out. If you're watching this recorded, by all means, put some comments in the comment section. Ask some questions there. Happy to go back and answer those. But you know, by all means, please ask questions. Happy to help. So here's the problem. So you know that you need to read and understand your financial information, but the financial statements are just numbers on a page, and there's got to be a better way. Now, I kind of stumbled upon this different method that I'm going to show you of how to present a P&L a few months back, and it really caught my eye. I can't take credit for it. Actually, it was an idea of Stephen Few. Stephen Few is a very well-known dashboard design expert, shall we say, and he wrote a book called Information Dashboard Design, which is basically like the Bible of dashboarding, pretty much. And so the method that I'm going to show you is in that book. I basically just recreated it here and shown you what it would look like if it was sitting inside your portal and how you would use it. So we're going to go through that. This has been like a lingering question in my mind for actually years because I used to go and have breakfast with my grandfather every single weekend, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, but we did that for literally decades. And we talked about all sorts of stuff, always had great conversation with him. And one day, I don't recall why, but I had a spreadsheet with me. I love spreadsheets. All accountants love spreadsheets. And I was showing him a P&L of something. I don't recall what it was, but he looked at me and he had this dumbfounded look and he goes, "This is just numbers on a page." And that clearly has stuck with me for quite some time now. It's like, you know, he's right. And, you know, as I've gone into business for myself and I've talked to clients, presented them with financial information, you know, I've heard that actually a couple of times. You know, it's just numbers on a page. And that's our job, is to provide you with the information as an accountant, provide you with the information, explain it, and tell the story. But it helps if you can literally see the story better. And that's kind of what I'm going to show you today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump over to QuickBooks. And we're going to revisit Larry again. So Larry's Landscaping, we love Larry. And this is Larry's P&L for the year 2022. Remember, this is fake data. This is a demo company. This is Larry's P&L for the year 2022 in QuickBooks. This is exactly what it looks like in QuickBooks Online. So as you will see, you start with your income. It moves down into your cost of goods sold. Income minus cost of goods sold gets you to your gross profit. That is your margin. And then below that, we've got all of the other expenses. So you'll see for Larry, he's got all sorts of stuff like insurance, automobile expenses, job expenses, you know, mileage, professional fees, utilities. And then we finally get down to net operating income. You'll see I've scrolled quite a ways. And then we get down to net income. So there's a lot of different categories here, and basically it's just numbers on a page, right? Now you can imagine if this was trended over a couple months and you had different columns, it just would look overwhelming. And, you know, certainly learning how to read financial statements is something that's taught when you go and you get your undergrad in accounting. But, you know, if you're somebody who is in a trade or has a specific skill set or has developed a product and you've gone out into business, you're probably not a trained accountant, right? And you went into business because you have a product or a service that you love to sell to people and that you want people to enjoy. You want to provide value to people. And in turn, they're going to provide value to you in the form of compensation and just plain joy that you've provided them with value, right? And so if you're not a trained accountant, learning how to read one of these is certainly intimidating. You can see it's a lot of numbers, and there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of stuff, right? So, if you're a business owner, I'm sure that you have thought probably more times than one that there has got to be a better way to look at this information, or you have thought, well, I'm just gonna ignore this because it's just too much, right? And then that comes with all sorts of problems, right? The whole purpose of accounting, and I talked about this in a Quora post that I posted yesterday, and there's going to be a link in the show notes to that today. But the whole purpose of accounting is to provide you with information that you can then turn into strategic decision making. So information that you can then take to move your business forward. That's the whole purpose of accounting. It's not there to cause headaches. It's there to give you information that is good, clean, and will inform strategic decision making. That's the whole purpose of accounting. And so, certainly just numbers on a page doesn't fit in with that strategic purpose. Okay. So here's a better way to do it. And you will see this is on my website. This is embedded inside of a client portal, a demo client portal. And this is something that we can implement for any business. So basically what this is, and again, credit to Stephen Few in his book, Information Dashboard Design. It's just recreated here for Larry's data. But what this is a series of bullet charts. Now, what is a bullet chart? Well, a bullet chart is what you see on the screen, but it provides context around numbers, number one, and it's a visual way of looking at a singular value. So if we're looking at the top left here for gross sales, that's this right up here, top left. Gross sales, you'll see the context is the scale goes from 0 to about 250,000. That's the scale of the whole chart. It's color coded. So dark gray, which goes up to about 150,000, no good. The lighter gray goes up to about 175,000. That's better, still not awesome. And then the lightest gray goes from about, I think, 190,000 up to 250,000. That's good. That's the zone that you want to operate in. Now, this black bar here, that's your target for the year. Now, your target for the year could be a forecasted amount. It could be last year's amount. Whatever your target is. So you're basically just looking to provide context around, have you met your goals? Have you not met your goals? How far away are you? What's the good zone, the go zone? What's the bad zone? That's what the bullet chart's doing. And it's labeled here. So the actual is 209,000, and then that's the green bar. So that green bar is 209,000. His target was 200,000. He has outperformed his target. Okay. Do the same thing for gross profit, and then EBIT, so that's earnings before interest and taxes, and then the net income. Now, costs are a little bit different. Costs are basically flipped. So less cost is good, more cost is bad. So you'll see that the shading in the bullet chart for cost of goods sold totally flipped. So less cost is this lower, or is this lighter gray. Right in the target zone, that's that medium shade of gray, and then in the bad zone, that's that darker shade of gray, and then you'll see the target is right in the middle of the medium zone, basically, $8,000. Or 8,000 is what he did. The target was about 8,500, and so less cost, good. So higher revenue, so he made more, or he had more sales than he thought. His cost of goods sold was less than he thought. So both of those things are positive. Both of those things are going to put or push the financial outcome into a more positive territory. And then the way that this works is we take gross sales less the cost of goods sold. That gets us to our gross profit. So think of this as level 2. This is basically a waterfall down from sales and a waterfall up. Is that really a waterfall if it's going up? I don't know. What's the technical term there? Not sure. But anyway, we're going to go with waterfall. A waterfall up for expenses. Okay. So gross sales, cost of goods sold equals your gross profit, and your job expenses plus your G&A expenses. So 2 levels of expenses equals your total expenses. Now, if we take gross profit less total expenses, we get to earnings before interest and taxes. Then we would layer on interest expense and taxes, and then we get to our net income. So this is a much easier way to view this, to view the same information that's in that P&L, that just numbers on a page. This is a visual way to visualize how that works. So we're cascading down from sales and we're cascading up from expenses to finally get us to a net income. So over here on the right, that's the, that's where we want to be. And, if you think about it, like humans read from left to right and top to bottom. So this whole graphic moves from left to right. It's a very natural progression. And you can see how, the different components go into a larger component, the gross profit, and your gross profit and your expenses go into another larger component, or really a smaller component, which is your earnings before interest and taxes, which goes into a smaller component, which is your net income. And it provides context around those numbers too. So it's not just numbers on a page. It's a number, it's a value with context around that number. What's good, what's bad, what's not, what were you looking to do, and how did you perform relative to what you wanted to do. So it's providing more data points than just one value. So really interesting way to look at it. I think I was actually reading an article on somebody's website. I forget whose website it was, but visual information is ingested something like 60,000 times more efficient than just values. And certainly if you're a visual person, you'll appreciate that, and you'll appreciate how this looks. This is the kind of thing that can be toggled for different values. So if you wanted to look at different months, we could certainly build that into this. So if you wanted to toggle between December and January, look at 1 month values. The only drawback of this presentation is that you can't trend it. There's really no way to trend it. So you can't do month over month or year over year. Well, you could do year over year, but that's just going to be a little bit different presentation, right? Your year over year is going to be your target. Basically, you could do it that way. But if you wanted to see how these green bars move from month to month, that's going to be a limitation of this. This is more for like a year-to-date number or a singular month number, and this really should be built in a way that you could toggle between the two. So more of a report than a dashboard. So anyway, that's pretty much it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this. Just finding a new way to look at a P&L. Hopefully this makes sense to you. By all means, please send me your questions. Happy to help. That's what I'm here for. So anyway, let's connect. Chris@betterwaycpa.com. Phone number 843-608-0298. Catch me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Quora, all those places. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you next time.